Alright everyone, a preemptive apology if my voice sounds a little bit off or gravelly or if I, cough up a lung or something. I'm still sick technically. I don't have a fever or anything. I feel fine except that my lungs are still congested. Like last night I lost 2-3 hours of sleep because of that. It's, you know how it is. It's really, really crummy. We got to talk about Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, not because of the Breakfast Club dancing video that so many people were trying to astroturf off as though the average person on the right was like, outraged. I don't fucking care. Look, I remember watching Breakfast Club. At first I didn't put two and two together. I thought it was just her just like doing regular dancing. I'm like, oh, here we go. Some fucking, what was she at the time? Some 20-year-old college kid dancing around on a rooftop. I really don't give a fuck. We've seen some weird, cringy shit from people in Congress that's way, way worse than that. And I like to believe that the average person does not care about that. Here's what I do care about, and this is what I think, the distraction is really about. I do care that Alexandria Ocasio Cortez is completely fucking clueless when it comes to politics and is completely clueless when it comes to economics. She just got done proposing a 70% marginal tax rate on the upper income brackets. Now, of course, marginal and effective are not the same. What this would do, though, if you have that bracket, people who look rich on paper, the working rich, people making a few million a year, they're definitely getting by, but if you're taxing them at a higher rate and it goes bye-bye, certain small business owners, certainly regional chain owners, the leaders of those companies, upper management, and groups like that would be affected. I'll tell you what, she's talking about, the most topsy tops of the people that earn income, like 10 million or more, then we'll put this marginal rate on it. Okay. You do realize that would necessitate the creation of brackets for people that make less than 10 million a year that would still be higher than any of the brackets that exist, right? It wouldn't cut off at, what is it, 45%? It wouldn't cut, or 35% or whatever it is now. I can't remember. Exactly. I think it's, or is it 38 or something, some arbitrary number. It'd be higher. You'd have a 50% bracket. You'd have a 60% bracket. You'd probably have to create 2 extra new brackets in order to make the system actually function. That means someone making a few $1 million a year, again, rich on paper, but might have a lot of expenses related to business or something, might get screwed. What you would end up doing anyway is, let's say that you apply that marginal income tax rate. Is this going to apply to businesses or is this for individual income? Are you suggesting taxing like Apple or Google at 70%? Okay, here's the problem. They already don't pay any taxes because they use tax loopholes and schemes, but guess who can't do that? The regional chain business can't. They'll have to pay a lot more in the end. Silicon Valley won't. The biggest income earners in the entire country would be virtually unaffected by this because they can hire armies of lawyers and accountants to get around it. But those other brackets you'd have to create, I guarantee a lot of people in those brackets would be totally screwed. They'd leave the country. I know if my tax rate were considerably higher than it currently is, and trust me, I'm already subject to a 15% extra added self-employment tax on top of the normal brackets up to 100K. And I don't make 100K a year. My income is basically doubly taxed over the average citizen in the same bracket. If my income tax were to rise to any substantial further degree, I would consider moving. Because it would be worth it to pay the money to renounce my citizenship and go somewhere else that's hopefully lower cost and yet has, the basic rights of bearing arms. I think it may be Brazil, Thailand, or someplace like that, parts of Eastern Europe, certainly somewhere cheaper. Or it'd be lower tax rate. And where with a decent self-employment income denominated in US dollars anyway, a nice stable income, you'd be pretty much sheltered. You'd be pegged to the US economy. If you're making money on Amazon, it's not going to make that big a difference. So, hyperinflation in Poland and you happen to be living there, it wouldn't be a problem. No, it'd be worth it at that point. A lot of rich people, let's say that she introduces this, goes through, and let's say they properly apply it. Let's say that they actually close all the loopholes that all of the people that own Congress make use of. It's never going to happen, but let's say they do. You know what would happen the next day? Bye, says Tim Cook as he moves to some other country. Bye, says Bezos as he takes Amazon and moves it out of the United States. Bye, says Microsoft. Bill Gates is gone. He sells his mansion to Michael Jackson's children or something. They call it Neverland 2.0, as in they never want to go there again. That would be a problem. So much wealth would flee from the country that it would certainly be a disaster economically. By the way, merely attempting to implement it would probably break the spine of business confidence and send the economy downward. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't plenty of people at the very top that don't pay their fair share, but the thing is, It's not the fault of the brackets. You don't need to change the brackets. In fact, you could cut their tax rate. You simply have to make sure that they're paying that tax rate. We don't do that for the biggest corporations. We don't do that for the biggest income earners. Because if they have 5 or 6 accountants and lawyers sitting in a room together, they can formulate a plan by which money is shuffled around and allocated in a way that most of it is not taxed at that uppermost income rate. It's taxed at a lower rate, if at all. Have you ever heard of the double Irish and some of these other tax schemes that are used? Oh, I have a mailbox in Bermuda and a company in Ireland, and they ship money back and forth, and it connects to my my actual business, and I don't have to pay the capital gains. I don't pay that part of the income tax. It looks like I'm poor on paper, but I own 10 skyscrapers. They do this. And I guarantee, because they're the people that mainly are buying and selling people in Congress, trying to implement this tax code, even if you did successfully, it wouldn't affect them. It's like when Obama raised the tax rate on the rich. It didn't affect the people you would most want it to affect and actually start drawing in a lot more income. No, it affected the working rich. It affected the doctor, the lawyer, the small business owner, the mom and pop store that looks rich on paper because it has a nice building and pulls in, maybe low 7 figures or something. That doesn't mean that ma and pa are actually rich. They might just barely be getting by. At the end of the year, the effective amount that they've actually grossed could be 60, 70K. They're like, we're getting by, but we're not exactly Bill Gates, are we? And we've got an anti-competitive, monopolized system anyway that prevents proper competition. It prevents groups that would be more competitive get strangulated by bureaucracy, by regulations and excessive taxation, while a big corporate monopoly that's already powerful, they're the only ones that can destroy themselves. Go MySpace mode or something. They can't get destroyed by taxes and regulation and bad business practices unless it's something drastic like the automotive industry or certain banking industry aspects a la the Great Depression. They have to really, really screw up in order to go under, and then Uncle Sam throws them free money. So yeah, this would be a dumb idea. And then it's like she describes herself, I'm a social democrat. No, I'm not a socialist. I'm not even a democratic socialist. I'm a social democrat. Okay, so you're socialist light. You're like the next step. You're the missing link between sane people and socialism. No thanks. I think we should be going in the other direction. I think we need capitalist democracy instead. I think that'd be a much better direction to go in. I don't care about her dance video though. Nobody cares. How many of you actually think that this is anything other than, well, it's kind of cringy, like college kid video. That's all it is. Fucking who cares? Nobody in their right mind. That's about all. Peace out.